Get 4 good hits on this one before he can move to this one. All the data is collected by this box and sent to a server, which is in the middle of the line over here. Each builder tracks his own engine across the entire line and builds all the engine up on his own. Each one of these lines is exactly the same. Currently we run LS7s and LS9s on this line, LS3s in the middle line, and our customer engine build experience is on the back line. That's where we take our customers and they build back there with a skilled builder for their Z06 or ZR1. He's got all his piston rod assembly stuffed right now and torqued down, and he's building up the bottom half of it right now. Show him how you do that. Mike's actually going to be out on Woodward on Saturday, tearing down and building up an engine.
Burning tires up.
Yeah, I hope he's not doing that. There's actually equipment out that you can do that with, but that's up to our skilled builders.
So he scanned, and then that set up the torque limits for the gun?
It opens up the gun to be able to do 10 rundowns. That's
okay.
25 newton meters.
I see.
I also monitor all the final angles on every rundown. So for 25 newton meters, I might have it set up so that at 10 newton meters, it starts counting angle, and it looks for the angle to end in a specific amount, a range. This is his torque to turn test where he's testing the engine.
Breakaway.
How tight it is. 20 newton meters to turn it over. That's the key. It also does some other stuff with the deadly torque. There's actually a breakaway torque and then there's a running torque.
Just gonna clean it up.
Defect grade.
This is a press fit, so press this on.
Okay. So that's his gauge there.
Somebody
Push it out.
right into the
press the
holes on the end of the sprocket.
All you do is line the marks up.
We switch it.
Yep. Yeah. Since yeah, I didn't always work here. I worked at Lansing most of the time.
Was that the only engine plant?
Yeah, that one. That's pretty much it.
It's fine.
Gives a false reading. You don't actually stretch the bolt, we're just putting torque into the spring.
Are there 3
three that are in a different torque spec?
Different torque spec.
Torque spec.
All the same
No.
torque.
All the same torque.
Oh, okay. Just a different
Just
What
like
we
I
do
said,
sequence.
they have to be on base circle so he's not pressing the spring down with the end of the...
When I roll into this station, the way the cam is set, the green numerals 1 through 8, the valve is closed. I torque those 8, then I rotate the engine 360, and that closes the other ones, and then I torque the ones that closed. Like you said, we just want to torque them when the valve is closed, not when it's open, so you're not compressing the spring and forcing the valve open. Just finished doing all my rock around torques. Now I'm just going to lube them, and I'm done with this station. We got a roller bearing in the rocker arm, so we try and get a little oil.
Quite low profile. That let them get the hood where it had to be. That's one thing we always do. We always give it a spin before we cover it. Generally.
See the cooler?
Yeah.
Cooler bricks.
So coolant runs through there, through another circuit.
That's one difference on the Cadillac CTS motor. There's just a single brick in there, which is, that motor is 60 less horse. There's a few other differences too. And
Do you know what the typical optimal temp is there, where they run that coolant circuit?
I'm not sure, to tell you
Okay.
the truth. Rob might know, but
Okay, you need to dive. Let me get her.
These discs are matched and they have paint on
You wanna see
each
them
one. One of them is indicating the light spot on the disc and the other is the heavy spot. So orient them accordingly. It's gonna be just like driving a bike here. Just like driving a bike.
Oops, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
yeah, but is it like driving a unicycle?
Not quite.
You don't have to unicycle this. Yeah. Yep. I've never I used to ride unicycle.
I'm gonna pull this back out and send it back over there. Just a second here. Put it right back on the corner of this box. Should be good. That's where you get all the square inches of the surface. Because you have two bits. We don't know. We're going to just do a big weight on this.
See if it's missing any parts.
Well, we do this weight as assembled, and then they take and add a certain amount they add to the engine after balance. And that's a full charge for the whole car.
I'm sorry, no way.
See the face up here? That means green means good. Green means go. That ain't good.
531.
Alright. You had fun, Ethan?
You can tell them?
Great name.
531.4 pounds. That is the weight of the engine. And then it's going to go back, it'll be cold tested, and then balanced. And when they're done with balance, they're going to reweigh it, and then they're going to add in. Anybody wants to get into that build your own, you're more than willing to take you around on that.
shift is?
Yeah, this is the kind of racket. Go on.
It goes through a set series of checks, starting at low RPM, then the oil gets flowing through the engine, it bleeds up the lifters, and then it starts spinning faster, checks ignition, like I say, it checks torque, checks differences between cylinders, it checks the valve opening and closing, so basically, I mean, it takes thousands of data points.
Are you actually running fuel through that motor?
At this point, we're just spinning my electric motor.
So you're checking the pressure, the intake pressures and exhaust pressures?
Yep. That's
Looking for
being
the normal.
isolated for each cylinder, and then we've got. We used to send them out for hot testing, and then for a while we did both hot testing and cold testing until we got a good baseline for how things run when they're normal. So if something falls out of the normal parameters, then it gets flagged and it'll be run again. And sometimes, you know, bearings and so forth have to seat a little bit, and things will pass the second time if they fail the first. But
you said they're firing the ignition also?
Also firing the ignition. Yep, checking. It's checking each cylinder to make sure the ignition's firing right.
Okay.
It's not actually, you know, burning.
There's no combustion going on, but
no, I mean it's pressure. It's reading the pressure.
Okay. I see.
What's the failure rate?
You mean initial failure rate or final? Initially, I'd say about 25% have to be run twice. I would say.
It's something that needs to be readjusted.
No, it's just something that quite often just has to kind of, oil has to flow through everywhere in the motor. Maybe we have to jiggle. Sometimes it's just the equipment. You have to jiggle the ignition pickup to make sure that it's reading right, because it's an inductive pickup.
How fast does it spin in the engine?
It spins it up to 2,000 RPMs.
Okay.
It does high speed and low speed tests, varying from 150 RPMs up to 2,000 RPMs.
Okay.
Is there any difference between a CR1 engine and a GM Performance Part crate engine? And an LS9 probably?
No, because see, we build those crate engines here, but we don't. They all get the same stickers on them as far as broadcast code, so they're the same build all the way.
Now, here by the same people?
Yeah, they're here by the same people. Now an LS7, if you get an LS7 long block, then that's built without an intake manifold, without a clutch, and so forth. But the ZR1 crate motors are complete motors. So we really don't know if we're building a crate motor or a customer motor, unless it happens to be the guy that came in and built his own.
The horsepower pump is that flywheel?
Yeah.
I believe it is.
What is the actual horsepower delivery?
Well, there's been a lot of people that run them on dynos, and what are they usually, like 75 horse less or something?
It's usually 20. If it's in the Corvette, you have less loss because you have a torque tube going to the back. Those are pretty efficient, so you're gonna. I would see 15 to 18% on a chassis dyno.